Welcome to HBRV Lifestyle. One second. Okay. Welcome to HBRV Lifestyle. We are live and I have several announcements today. So if you're watching this afterward, you're going to want to watch the entire live stream because there's going to be some announcements I'm going to go over that are very important. As well as the fact that there's some breaking news that's going on as well inside the industry. Now, if you'd like to financially support the channel, in the description box below, you're going to see a GoFundMe page that is strictly for the channel and the channel only. And then also we have our merchandise in the description box as well, our merchandise store. So, two of the announcements. Okay. The first announcement is I'm currently working on we'll call it a book. It is going to be a manual on, hi, it's Amia, good evening. It's going to be a manual on RV buying. It's going to be something that I'm going to release to the public eventually. Once it's completed, once I actually put it together, it's going to be a guideline, like a guidebook for people so that way they have a starting point for their homework. It's not going to be very complicated. It's going to be very simplistic, very easy to read, very easy to, pardon me, very easy for people to go through, so that way they have the basics about loans, they have the basics about financing, and it's going to be a digital book. And hey there, Greg Lynch, how you doing? So that's what I'm gonna do. That's one of the announcements. Another announcement that I have is I'm going to have a surprise for everyone July 1st. There's going to be a huge thing. So July 1st is on a Monday. Okay. So that right there is going to be very, how do I put this? I'll put it this way. I'm super excited about it. I'm extremely excited about it. It's something that I've been looking forward to. It's something that is going to be beneficial not only to the community, but the people looking forward to joining the community. So big announcement there, okay? All right, let's get to some of the first questions that we have. I got them saved in here. Dear Honey Badger, we are looking at purchasing a used fifth wheel and going traveling. We have run into two roadblocks. Roadblock number one is we have been unable to find a diesel truck that fits within our budget monthly, as well as the tow capacity. Seems like every truck that we want to buy is way out of our price range. We also decided to try to set up the RV loan first and found out that the RV loan is going to be a very high interest rate, somewhere around 18 or 19%. We have a total of $20,000. That's how much cash we have decided that we can put down on both a truck and a trailer or a fifth wheel. So what would you suggest we do? My suggestion number one is take what your monthly payment is. So if I go to here, let's break out old keyboard. So if I go to RV Trader, and I loved using their loan calculator. Their loan calculator is really cool. It's really good, really easy to use, okay? So let's say it's 18.95. Let's say that's what it is. Let's say it's a 12-year loan because that's normal with these subprime breaks, okay? Hi, Sonar Travels. Oh, by the way, for all the dads out there, happy Father's Day tomorrow. And let's say it's a $30,000 loan. So the payment's $529 at that point. So what you really need to do is figure out what can you afford monthly. You know, if you can afford $600, then that brings you to probably a $35,000 fifth wheel. Okay, actually probably like 34. So that means that with your 10 grand down, you're really able to afford $44,000 out the door fifth wheel. That should get you a decent fifth wheel. That should be able to get you something 3 to 4 years old, maybe 5, maybe 6, decent condition. There's a lot of them out there. You can find them, okay? Then what I would do is after you have the loan secured, don't sign the loan, but once the loan is secured with the dealer, then I would severely hunt everywhere for the truck. See, the problem is a lot of folks are not willing to fly. If I was gonna save $20,000 on a truck by flying from Nevada to South Carolina, I would do it in a heartbeat because it's probably only gonna cost me $1,000 in fuel. You know, $600 for the air flight. Cost me probably $2 grand total to do it. So I'm saving $18,000. Because when you go and fly and pick up a truck, you drive it, right, back. So I would definitely look outside of your area. I won't mention the state you're in, but I can tell you that being on the East Coast, people seem to think that their stuff is worth more than, and no offense if you're on the East Coast, but there's a ton of people I've met on the East Coast that think when they buy something, it's worth more money 5 years later than what they paid for it. I don't understand it. I've run into that a lot in my life. It's not everybody on the East Coast, but there's a lot of people on the East Coast, especially with trucks. They buy a $30,000 truck back in 1995, and now they think it's worth $50,000 today. I mean, it's just strange how that works, okay? So be willing to fly, be willing to be mobile, be willing to go and pick up the truck, you know, 8 states away, okay? That's the best thing I could tell you because then you're gonna have an easier time. And that would work out pretty good. So hopefully that helps you guys out, okay? Okay, next question. Dear HB, it seems to us that you are down these days. We're hoping you're okay. We don't see as many videos from you. We don't see as much content from you in general ever since you had to take down the podcast. Is everything okay? Your best wishes. Everything's fine. I've been going through a lot of stuff lately. Some of it's personal, some of it's business related. I am making videos. I'm just releasing them slower. So I'll give you guys an example. I'm trying to when I release a video for the update, the monthly update video for the RV industry, I try to give it 5 or 6 days to breathe before I repost more walkthrough videos or more finance videos. And the reason why is because it was something that was suggested to me by another content creator that has a lot bigger channel than I do and has a lot bigger following than I do. So, yeah. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Samia. Well, I'm sorry about the ads, Theo. It's getting, you know, it seems like there's more and more ads with everything anymore. But I'm okay. I'm getting more darker skin because I'm out in the sun more often. But yeah, I'm okay. Okay. Dear HB, we are having a tough time understanding the differences between a Coachman Freedom Express and a Coachman Apex. what we're really looking for is which one is better quality overall. It seems like they're identical except for the sticker. And obviously the Apex has more options in sizes than Freedom Express. You seem to have sold them a lot. Do you know what the real difference is? There isn't a lot of differences between Freedom Express and Apex. They're very small. Reality is that I believe that the little things like the kitchen sink, the handles on the cabinets, the overall thought process of Freedom Express is better than Apex. I think the biggest downside to Coachman Freedom Express is they're very cookie cutter. There isn't a lot of innovation in floor plans. It's very cookie cutter and straightforward floor plans. But in my experience, I've never really had a ton of problems in service with them. I've never had a ton of problems with Apex either, but I think what it's really gonna boil down to is floor plan. Floor plan, if you want something that's a little more exotic, then obviously Apex is gonna have some more exotic examples of floor plans than Freedom Express. If you want something more traditional and cookie cutter, then Freedom Express would be your thing. I wouldn't put one over the other when it comes to quality. You have to understand there's only like a certain amount of ways to build a travel trailer. There isn't like a dozen different ways to do things like there is in the car industry where they tweak a motor, put a turbo, put A, B, C option on it, put A, B, C, D suspension on it. There isn't all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, dear HB, we seem to be in a difficult situation. We need to get out of our bigger motorhome and into either a smaller motorhome or a smaller travel trailer. But it seems we made the big mistake of buying during COVID. We are upside down over $100,000 in our motorhome. And unfortunately, because life changed, we don't have the funds to cover the $100,000 to get out of it. We've tried selling it on our own. It seems like the diesel pusher market is way softer than what folks told me it was going to be. I understand from one of your videos, you said that the diesel pusher market is wholesale to retail and retail to wholesale. Can you explain what that really means? Because I don't quite understand it. Okay, so tag axle diesel pushers. And tag axle means it's obviously got three axles, right? So 3-axle diesel pushers have always been a soft market, meaning, Kevin, thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate that a lot. Appreciate you. What the diesel pusher market means is when you're in a tag axle diesel, when you take it off the lot, brand new, it's worth about half of what you paid for it. And the reason why is because the market for a tag axle diesel pusher is about that big of the diesel pusher market. So the tag axle diesels, most people are looking for 40 feet and under. So when you're at 42, 44, 45, and you've got 3 axles, it's a much smaller market. And those people that are looking used are looking to steal them, okay? They're looking for highway robbery. Because when you go buy a new $500,000 coach that, let's say MSRP was $800,000, $900,000, if somebody doesn't want to spend that, they're really looking to spend half. Now, when you get a 36, 37, 38-foot diesel pusher, they hold their value really well because it's a much bigger market and a much bigger pool of customers looking for it. I'll give you a great example. I have a friend of mine, well, he's more of an acquaintance, but a friend of mine who has a 38-foot Tuscany. It's a 38 DBT Tuscany, 2016. Okay, he paid, new Ford, he paid 189 grand. He just recently sold it for 105. Okay, he did lose, obviously everybody loses money when you buy these things. They don't gain value, right? But if that was a tag axle, he probably would have sold it for 65 or 70 because that market's a lot smaller and those guys are grinders. So when I used to take him in on trade, when I take a tag axle diesel in, I try to consign it. I try not to take him in trade because really we want to hit him at half the wholesale because we're going to sell them below wholesale. So a lot of times, and what that means is, let's say you went and bought a Beaver. Let's use a big old Beaver, 600 something horsepower motor, Caterpillar. Those things sold for $350 grand back in the day. If you try to sell that coach for $100,000 today, you're going to get laughed out of the building. Everybody will ignore you. Wholesale book on it is probably 90 grand, 95 grand. That's probably wholesale on something like that. We'd probably take it in for 40 or 45 because we can turn around and send it to the auction and get our money back. Or we'll list it for $59.9, $69.9 and turn it quick. Take offers, turn it quick. Try to make 3, 4, 5 grand after we prep it. That's something that's rare. Most of that stuff is private party sold. Now, when you get to that point where you have the advantage a private party customer has with a tag axle diesel is if you live in a state that has no sales tax on a private party sale, then voila, you're good to go, right? Because then you got an advantage over a dealer. Like for example, here in Nevada, when you trade something in, you get a tax credit. If you sell it on your own and somebody buys it from you, you have to pay full sales tax on the new one, and the customer that bought it doesn't pay any sales tax. So very different how that all like comes to fruition, okay? So I'm not telling you to make you upset, but the reality is you're probably stuck with the motorhome because it's very hard to downsize. I've always said that for years. You start out, nobody buys the first one last. It's so rare. Most people go through 4 coaches before they reach their coach that they're going to have for 15 or 16 years. It's a process because here's the thing. And I was telling my finance manager this today. There's a starting point that everybody has to start at. When you start at a $500,000 motorhome, you're not going down unless you want to write a big check to get out of it. Or unless you want to write the check up front to lower it, like put half down or pay cash or whatever you want to do in that respect, okay? I don't recommend paying cash, but let's say you put half down or something. Then you're in a position where if you want to get rid of it and there's something else, easy to do, right? This is why like entry-level Class C motorhomes, whether you buy an old used rental or, I'm not old used, but a newer used rental from a dealer, you buy an older one that's a private party, you buy a newer, older one or a brand new one from a dealer. When you start at a Class C, if you're going to be a motorhome person, much easier to get out of it into the next unit. Because when a dealer gets a Class C on trade, they're more willing to pay more money for a Class C motorhome than they are for a Class A Class A diesel pusher that has 3 axles. And the reason being is because the market for a Class C is much bigger. There's a bigger pool of people that can and are willing to afford that compared to that tag axle diesel, okay? Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, next one, then I got some announcements. Okay, dear HB, we have a 2019 Toyota Tacoma. According to the salespeople and the service department at Toyota that we bought it from, they say our Toyota can only tow 5,000 pounds. When we look it up online through Toyota's website with all the options we put on, it says 6,800 pounds. When we call Toyota corporate and they put the VIN number through, they tell me it's 6,500 pounds. We are extremely confused. What would you recommend we look at for a Toyota Tacoma for a travel trailer? My husband does not want single axle trailer. He only wants a dual axle. Okay. So you can do a dual axle trailer. The problem with a dual axle trailer in a Toyota Tacoma is you really, really got to pay attention to your weight. Okay. You gotta just like severely pay attention to payload doesn't matter on towing. I'll explain that in a minute, Kevin. Payload doesn't matter. It's GCWR, gross combined carrying capacity. Payload only has to do with what's in the car. You're looking for gross combined carrying capacity. That's what you're looking for. Both Toyota Tacoma and most Toyota products, that's hard to find. You really have to look for that sticker. Payload matters more in fifth wheels because of pin weight more than it is tow capacity. Tow capacity and payload are two different things. You're looking at gross combined versus what goes in the bed of the truck and in your seats and everything. But the reality is with a Tacoma, I would really stick to something 22 feet in total length, dual axle or not. Find something that's 36, 37, 3,800 pounds dry, and really watch your weight. Don't travel with water, okay? Since you can't narrow down, or you have a tough time narrowing down what the real tow capacity is. Don't travel with water on the freeways. Empty your tanks before you leave the campgrounds. And what I would do is take your trailer, hook it up, load all the stuff you have in it, take it down to your nearest truck scale and have it weighed as it sits. If it's anything more than 4,500 pounds loaded, 4,800 pounds loaded, somewhere in that range, you need to unload it and take less stuff. That would be what I would do. Take it from FEME. I started with the 37-foot travel trail, moved down to 32-foot. Now I have a diesel truck and started out with a 1,500. Very nice. So yeah, I mean, I just be careful with Tacoma. They're a great truck to tow with, but just be careful. Like, have somebody check out what the gross combined carrying capacity is. Okay. All right, a couple quick announcements, okay? First off, so here, I'm gonna read this. It came from rvbusiness.com, okay? Where is it? Where is it? Man, I hate it when they archive this stuff. Where is it? Okay. So this was announced on Monday. Last week, the RVIA, RV Industry Association, Board of Directors approved the RV Model Year Task Force's recommendation to move the voluntary model year introduction recommended best practice dates from July 1st through August 31st to June 1st through June 30th timeframe. So they moved it up. So in June of next year, they're going to have 2026s. Now that is going to affect a lot of crap, okay? The first thing it's going to do is it's going to screw with how dealerships are going to order. Okay. I truly believe that they just shot themselves in the foot, because the reality is dealers who are going to survive this downturn are going to look at that and go, okay, I'm going to cut off ordering in April. So normally they cut off ordering right around Memorial Weekend. They stop ordering because all of June they're just trying to get rid of inventory, and they'll take stuff out of what they call the yard, okay? And they'll like, okay, sell one, replace one, sell one, replace one, sell two, only replace one. They're usually very careful around May and June. Well, now you're going to screw over the system where the dealerships are going to go, whoa. So you guys are going to start introducing 2026s on June 1st rather than after July shutdown? Ooh, that's about 6 weeks early. 6 weeks early is just going to make 2025 year model, there's going to make less of them. So next year, you're going to, so between year model change, which is going to happen for most of the industry middle of next month, so in about 4 weeks. Now you're going to move that schedule up, which means they're going to build less 2025s, which means dealers are going to order less 2025s. Okay. Well, the problem is, Monica, is they ordered a bunch of that stuff and they sold them. Most of the 2024s that are inexpensive, that have the outdoor kitchen, the ones you're looking at, they're already pretty much sold out across the country. There's a few in California, there's a few of those rpods in back east, but for the most part, most people sold out of them, and they're just not going to order. They limit how many of those small little ones that they build because there's not much profit. So when that 107C rpod, there's zero profit. It's a market share coach. There's no profit in for the dealer and there's no profit in for the manufacturer, so they limit how many they build. It's a hook. I got them hooked. They're coming in. They're coming in on that cheap trailer. Time to bump them into something else. I mean, that's what that trailer's there. You know, it's interesting because, you know, there was an old joke when I first got in the industry. We had a $8,995 Springdale travel trailer. It was an 1800 BH, okay? It was a little box with 3 beds and 1 cabinet, a microwave, a little AC, a little furnace. It like had nothing to it. Didn't even have an awning. And it was $9,000 brand new. If you sold that trailer as a salesperson, you were sent home for the month. You weren't sent home for the weekend. You were told, see that customer as they drive off of that trailer that's on the lot? Yeah, go home with them. We'll call you when we need you. It was not meant to be sold. It was meant to bring people in so you can put them in something else. Okay. That trailer was only authorized to be sold after 150 days. After 150 days, this is old school. After 150 days, then whoever sold it didn't have to go home for the month. But if you got it factory fresh and you sold it in 2 days, go home. Don't come back. We'll call you, don't call us. And that's how it worked, right? So that's the upsell. So we used to, but see, the upsell is different now. Now it's a little different, but now they don't care if they sell that unit or not. They're gonna make $500, $800. They're not gonna make much. But they limited how many they were going to build because there's no profit in it to keep the factory going. And there's no profit in it for the dealer to just sell a bunch of $800 profit trailers. It doesn't work. Okay. All right. So anyway, that was one of the announcements. The other announcement that I had that also was very interesting is, where is it? There was another thing that says gas prices are falling. Experts point to mild demand. So I am yet to see gas prices west of the Mississippi drop any more than it already did about a month and a half ago. So this article is behind. But again, remember that a lot of the RV industry, a lot of the RV publications are propaganda to try to keep the RV industry positive. It's not like politics where they're propaganding Armageddon, the democracy's over if this person gets elected. Democracy's over if this person gets elected. You know, it's none of that. It's basically, you know, anytime's a good time to buy, Monica. Anytime is good. There's no special time of the year to buy an RV. You buy when you're ready, you're willing, and you're able. If you're ready, willing, and able today, then tomorrow you should go buy one. RV living on the rise or fall? You know, I would say it's more on the rise than it is on the fall. I think what happened is a lot of folks are getting a dose of reality of, and this is in every industry. This is trucks, this is boats, this is things of that nature. I think it's on the rise because housing is less affordable. People are sick and tired of being in cities and being in suburbs and having commutes. So a lot of folks are finding full-time work, doing remote work. It's not the money that they were making in the city. And you notice that it only lasts a certain amount of years. So like my wife and kids are sick of full-time RVing. This will be their last year doing it for a while. There's a gap where people will do it for 4 or 5 years, build a bunch of memories, enjoy themselves, and they're like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of hooking up and doing all this work and this toolkit and sense of humor crap. I'm tired of it, right? But I think it's more and more on the rise because of the freedom it gives people. I'm hearing more and more about full-time RVing than I am about just going around doing anything. But gasoline, like I said, gas and diesel prices have pretty much hovered over the last 6-7 weeks. It hasn't really gone down. I have full-timed RV for the last 3.5-4 years. There's days where I'm even like, I'm done. Like I get tired of having to break out my toolkit and fix my water pump or put back up a cabinet or a gray tank busts and, you know, pipe burst because it got froze accidentally or whatever. You know, there's just things of that nature, but it goes. Think of full-time RV living for the first time. Do you recommend fifth wheel or motorhome? Well, first of all, I would never do it in a van. The van life is very hard on people. So I'm not going to mention the creators' names because that's unfair to them. They've talked to me in confidence. But there are about a dozen famous, popular YouTubers that are a part of the full-time live in the van life, and it's all fake. They fake it. They film themselves waking up inside their van after they spent a night in a motel or hotel. Because they started it, it did really well. They had a good time. Everything was good for the first couple months, and they found out they don't have a lot of room for clothes. The bathrooms and showers suck in vans and Class B motorhomes. The air conditioning and the generators suck in those things when it comes to full-time living. Now, here's the interesting part. This is what I told them because a lot of them are trying to either sell them or trying to figure out what the value of them is because a lot of them built their own and they're having a tough time recuperating even close to half of the money they spent to build the van, okay? And I have a video about that. And I'm coming out with a new video about that, but because it's not a bad thing, but it's just the way it is. So the reality is my grandmother and my grandfather were part of the van life, okay? The van life, when I used to sell Pleasureway, when I used to sell Road Trek, when I used to sell Winnebago Travato, Those were the 3 Class Bs I sold the most of, okay? I've sold some leisure ways, and I've sold some leisure vans, and I've sold Midwest stuff. I've sold all kinds of little things, but the major ones I sold was Road Trek and Pleasure Way, okay? And how it was explained to me training, when I initially got trained to sell those things, was the people that buy these stay in hotels. So my grandfather and my grandmother were a perfect example. My grandmother had Crohn's and colitis. So she needed a toilet like right there, otherwise she couldn't do any traveling. My grandmother and my grandfather owned the Road Trek Class B that they had for 5 years. In 5 years, I think they spent a total of maybe 40 nights sleeping in the van. They always used the bathroom, the shower, the cabinets, the refrigerator. They cooked in it. They stayed by rivers. They stayed by creeks, but never for more than 1 night. And then they went straight to the Holiday Inn. Okay. So van life is not that great. Fifth wheels are better to live in than Class B motorhomes by far. It gives you more freedom, more space. You're not living in a sardine can. You have height, you have slides. Even if you go to a smaller fifth wheel, even if you go to like a 28-footer or 29-footer, you still have more space, more storage, bigger bathroom, nicer bed, better air conditioning, better just overall experience, okay? Now, if you want a full-time RV, but you want to go stay in hotels while you travel the country, then a Class B motorhome is perfect because it gives you the option to stay 2 or 3 nights at a campsite somewhere on a creek or a lake or a river, and then you just pull into the Holiday Inn and go, yay, a bed and water pressure, yay, okay? You're welcome. Do you know Harry Cox? Ha ha ha, Michael A. Very funny. Okay. All right. Next question. I got time for one more. Oh, that's cool, Nicole. That sounds like fun. I've lived in travel trailers. I've lived in fifth wheels. They're awesome. Okay, I got time for one more. Okay, dear HB, what are some of the things you would look for when it comes to the warranty of an RV? We watched your video on the Grand Design frame warranty, and it spooked us a little bit because realistically, you are right. We should be checking our fifth wheel every 20 to 25 days anyway and measuring things. Just like we would check the oil in our car, just like we would check our air filters, our tire pressure, just the normal things we should do with our commuter car, we should probably do with our fifth wheel. Here's the downside I see, and I want your opinion. If we do all this maintenance and we do everything that Grand Design or any of the other manufacturers ask us to do, what are the chances they still deny claims? Well, God, that's a good question. I think it's a case-by-case basis with things. I probably will, Blair. I'll look into it. I'll definitely look into it. What about truck campers? I'll get into truck campers in a minute. Chances they turn them down. I can't really give you a number. What I will say is the better I have records of things, the less likely they're going to have a reason to turn it down. Okay? Look, I'm going to tell you that having service records with anything and having it serviced at an authorized place or a service center that actually has a license, not Joe Blow from Home Depot and not you doing it yourself, but having it done at a dealership, doesn't matter if it's a car, a truck, a boat, an RV, The more documentation you have, the harder it is for somebody to say no. That's the best way to put it. Absolutely best way to put it. Okay, what about truck campers? Well, truck campers, I wouldn't live in them, but shoot, they're really cool. I love truck campers. They're freaking cool. I love our Class C. I took the time to look at all the floor plans, the cost from a new one to a used one. We went used and got a great deal. Good job, Paula. Great job. What would you recommend for a full-time living trailer? I have a 2021 GMC 1500 crew cab with a 3.0 diesel. Anything under 26 feet, D-car. Like I would go Rockwood, Flagstaff. Those are the two best I can think of at that point. Coachman Freedom Express is a good one. The smaller Keystone Cougars. That 3.0 diesel doesn't pull very much, and I think it probably has a 7,500 pound tow capacity. So I would stick under 26 feet, dual axle, and 26 feet gets you probably a 28, 29 total foot trailer, and you can have some fun in that. That's a lot of fun. I'm scared that it's more expensive than I expected, but I'm looking to do this to save money over increasing rent or buying a home. My delusional thinking will be a cost savings alternative. Nicole, there is some cost savings to it. There are a lot of cost savings to it, but there are expenses to it too. It's cheaper than owning a home, and it's cheaper than renting a place. But it's not like it's going to save you thousands of dollars a month, but it'll probably save you hundreds of dollars a month, and you have the freedom to move around and you actually own it. Yeah, D, I mean, it would be, Rockwood, Flagstaff are good ones. I mean, they're a really good one to look at. Biggest thing would probably be to try to prove it was done without a receipt from me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there are a few truck campers that would be good. Oh yeah, all of them are good. All the truck campers are good, not to live in, but to camp in. Lance, Bigfoot's a good one. Host is a great one. Eagle Cap is a great one. A lot of them out there. Truck campers are amazing. They're just engineer. It's just a different type of engineering. It's really, really cool. Okay. Oh, crack my back. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much for all the donations that you guys have put. A lot of you have already donated to the GoFundMe. If you haven't already and you want to, you can go ahead and donate on the link in the description box. We also have the merchandise store. Thank you again, Kevin, for the super chat, the super thanks. That's really, really appreciative. It will really help us out. Yeah, medium's like 35. Any one of them you get, you're going to want a 2500 diesel. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Paula. Yeah, exactly. Buying an RV lot? I don't know about buying an RV lot. That would be kind of cool. I was always thinking about buying a full-time RV campground, just never got to it. So anyway, hey, thank you so much, Dee. Appreciate you. As always, guys, Saturday evenings, 7 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be here. And we'll be here next Saturday. Happy Father's Day, and you guys enjoy.